it was scary for Jill.
So who are these other phones that we have
Who's on the phone? We've got 2 people on the phone. It looks like.
Number though.
Who are the phone only people?
Can they speak up and tell us anything? Why don't we, what I suggest we do is just go kind of in order and just tell us what you're doing, what's on your mind a little bit. Just take a couple of minutes each one and tell us what you did on your mission, and anything else just what you're doing right now.
Yeah, what you've done since and what you're doing now.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
And let's start with the shavers. Since they're in the upper left of my screen.
Upper right of ours.
There's the shaver.
Go ahead.
Anyway, shavers. The time is yours.
Okay, Cindy says I'm supposed to talk. So we were the area medical advisors from late 2011 to March of 2013. Since then, we've had a temple mission in the Suva, Fiji temple. And now the last 3 years, we've just been home here, mainly in Idaho. We go to Florida in the winter for 3 or 4 months. And right now, we're just hanging out with one set of grandkids and their parents and getting ready for spring. Irrigation water, fertilizing, that sort of thing.
Where are you at?
That one set of grandchildren and their parents moved into our house when we went to the DR, and they haven't left yet. So it worked out great now for the quarantine because we have somebody to talk to.
What part of Idaho are you in?
We're outside of Boise in Eagle, Idaho.
Okay.
And Sister Levitt, I have to tell you how many times I have thought of you when we did our mission in Fiji in the temple. It was my goal to be able to glide through the temple like you did in the DR. I'm not sure I ever managed it, but I wanted to float like Sister Levitt.
I don't know what that means, but thank you.
Good. Well,
We have 3 people that are on telephone only. If you're not seeing us and you're on telephone only, can you tell us who you are and we can try to help you get on?
Chuck and Vicki Rucker are here.
Oh, good, but you couldn't get on to
Miss Browns.
No, but we love you all, and we can just imagine what you look like.
You're on the phone. Glad we can hear you. Oh, pretty late.
Roger
You
and
haven't
Sherry
aged
Brown
again.
on.
Okay. Roger and Shirley Brown are on the phone.
Well, they can hear us,
Right there.
but
Yeah.
we can't hear them. They're on my phone, but wait a minute. Now Brown's talking. Let's see if we can hear you.
Hello, Dana.
Oh,
Good.
good.
We can hear you. That's great.
Great, wonderful.
Good.
Can you hear us now?
Yes, over my phone. Yes.
Okay.
That may be
Okay,
coming.
who else? You found the Ruckers, and who else is on the phone?
Who else?
Okay.
Who is another phone only person?
It might be the Ruckers twice.
Could be.
Okay.
Good. It's good to see that Jill Johnson got on.
Hi, Jill.
Can you hear us? Can you speak?
I'm mute. Hi.
There you go. She must be a professional communicator. She is.
I know when to shut up and turn myself on.
Good to have you. So let's go on and let's hear from I guess the third from the top,
From the Levitts.
from the Levitts.
Oh.
Well, your orders.
Okay.
Our orders are
must be
different. Must
than
be
yours.
different.
Okay, so just call on
Just-
someone.
Yeah, let's just go. How about Levitts?
Okay. Well, I'll start and Jane can finish. That way she has the last word. Well, when we came back, we continued in the business with the Progressive Dairyman for a little bit, part-time with our 2 sons who own the business now. And then we've served in the Twin Falls Temple up until the time we left Jerome, where we lived for 45 years. and we moved from Jerome here to Shelley to be closer to one of our daughters who lives in Rexburg, and we've been serving in the Idaho Falls Temple now.
And we live in the home that my parents built in 1965, and it's right by the Snake River. So we're looking out at the Snake River right now. And I don't know if we served another mission in the Dominican Republic. So that was after we knew some of you. We were in the Santiago mission, and we were in the mission office. If you could imagine, I was a finance person and Leon was the secretary to the president. So that was a real adventure for us and was a real challenge.
I wonder if that was with Lorenzo.
Did you share what you did during our period of time with you?
I wonder if that was.
Oh,
with
we were
Lorenzo.
temple missionaries then.
Yeah.
I was floating through the temple, or gliding.
And you were a counselor to both President Perry and President Flake?
We became Leon became in the temple presidency with President Bear. We were with them for about the last 3 months of their time as the temple president. Then the Flakes came, and we helped orient them, and then we came home. We were with them for about 2 or 3 months before we came home.
That's great. Good, thank you.
And that was wonderful working with both those sets of people.
That is great. How about Lynn and Janet Snow?
Well, we were the area auditor in the Caribbean, and took over from us. We came home, and we went right back to working in the temple. We were working on Friday evenings, and then they needed another sealer on the Friday mid-shift. So then we worked Friday mid-shift and Friday evenings for some time. And lately our temple has decided they're going to do a seal. So just before the temple closed, they were shuffling the sealers every 3 months. We had a different shift. But we also work in our Family History Center here,
Which is closed.
And in 2016, we were called to be stake self-reliance specialists. And the church came out and oriented us, and that was before self-reliance was through most of the U.S. and Canada, and we were some of the early ones. And so they told us to go on and look at these videos, and the first video we went on was in Spanish, and it was the Self-Reliance Committee, and it was the Santo Domingo Oriental Stake Dias. And we said, hey, wait a minute, we know these folks. And we served there for till the beginning of 2019, and then we were called to be self-reliance missionaries. So we serve the 10 stakes in our area, and we're self-reliance missionaries. We own a home we live in Roosevelt. We've sold our home that we built and lived in for 37, 38 years, where we had our horses, and we back to the golf course. It was my dream place. But I got crippled up, and so I'm not riding my horses and golfing. And so we sold the place, and we built another house only a quarter mile from there. We still have our golf cart and things, but we own a home in St. George, and we go down there and have a St. George missionary reunion each year in the fall, and we've done that ever since we got home. And Brother Mahan that's on lives in St. George, and we go down and visit them. And then, any of you are welcome to come to our St. George reunion this year. It's the first part of October.
If it's open.
Yeah, if it's open. So now, instead of going horseback riding and so forth, we have a four-wheeler. And Monday this week, we went over to Vernal and went on the Butch Cassidy Sundance Loop, and that was a rough four-wheeler ride. But,
But
we're just we're indexing a lot now that we can't go to the temple or Family History Center, and I have a Zoom instruction on indexing and a PowerPoint. If anybody wants some indexing instructions, we'd be glad to send it to you.
That is great. Janet, do you have anything to add?
We are expecting our 27th grandchild in about 2 weeks.
27.
Great.
That's great. Well, how
And
about
we had 3 missionaries out. One was sent home from the Philippines. He'd been out 21 months, and one was sent home from Chile. He'd only been out 8 months, and he hopes to be able to go back somewhere. But he'd love to go to Chile, but I don't know if he'll wait that long. So we only have one out. He's in Florida.
Well, thank you.
Far away.
How about the Quaino?
By the way, it looks like the flakes just got on. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, hello.
Greetings,
lemons.
greetings from Spain.
We're going around just briefly telling about what we've done on our mission and what we've done since we
buttons.
So,
Just
Okay,
a
I'm gonna
couple
make
of
it
minutes
quiet.
each.
So, see, 11.
Hermano Quaino.
Could you have someone else, because we have a visitor now and my wife just left for a few minutes.
How about the Christmas?
I guess that's us. We served 2013 and 14. We were the welfare specialists. While we were there just a few weeks, and Joy fell and broke her hip, and we had to come home for a couple of months. Then we returned and finished our mission. When we got home, we sold our home to our daughter in Pleasant Grove and moved to Provo to a twin home for 3 years, where we were the young special adults specialist for the state. While we lived in that area, we made 3 trips out of the country, one to Denmark and one to Israel, and then last year we went to Australia. But in November we got, a year ago we moved to Linden, sold our twin home and moved to Linden with our daughter and her husband. And in November we got called on a mission. So we are serving currently in the Orem, Utah mission as MLS missionaries. We'll be serving for a year. We're in the mission about 5 months now, and we're stuck home making phone calls.
Bless your heart. Oh, that's great.
That's wonderful.
Anything else from you folks? Okay. Sister Iturralde.
Well, I just woke Carlos up to see if he can get up to come see everybody. So maybe wait on me and see if he gets here after everybody else says something.
We'll wait. We'll pass in and go to Curtis.
All right, I was in the church education system, and from April of 2012 to March of 2014, came home. Unfortunately, had a divorce. Then I moved to St. George. I've been down here for almost 6 years. Worked in the temple, was remarried to a wonderful girl, and we worked in the temple until we wore it out. Now they have to refurbish it. And once more got kicked out of a job in the church by the First Presidency as they disbanded the High Priest Quorum, and loving St. George, and that's about it.
Oh, good. So good to have you with us. It's still in one piece. How about the Browns?
Here. I served as the second counselor to President Rodriguez in Santo Domingo West Mission. We lived in Asua, and it was an amazing experience. And since we came home, I went back to work to earning enough money to pay the green fees. And a couple of years ago, I took a work trip to Spain along with my daughter, where she had served her mission. Somebody had to do it. And then a year ago, in March, I took a trip to Havana, Cuba, and checked the saints down there. It's amazing. They've got, I think, 3 branches now, 5 groups of saints down there. And it's growing. I think they started missionary work actually this past fall.
Well,
We started serving in the West Jordan Temple when it reopened after the remodel, and have been there up until it closed. And then I was called to serve as a counselor in the bishopric in the Spanish ward, so that's our mission right now for a couple of years or however long it takes. If it ever reopens again, that's what we will do. And so I think catches up. You got anything else? Oh yeah, we had our grandson called to the Aguascalientes mission in Mexico, and he's home now and has been released. He'd only been there since December, hoping to go back when everything settles down. So we have 23 grandkids, and we're expecting our 4th great-grandchild.
wow.
Still growing.
Let me ask you a question, if you don't mind. I've always known you as the Browns, but I've never known your first names. Would you mind sharing what your first names are?
Roger and Sherry.
There we go. Good. Excellent. That's good. Okay, let's see. Who's next? Let's go to the Schmitz there.
Sure.
Schmitz.
We served in the West Mission of the for September to
2012 to 2014.
yeah.
They
And,
took the 4th places.
Yes, we had a wonderful time. I was home a month. We were home a month from our mission, and my legs went out, and so we weren't able to submit our papers to go again. But we spent a lot of time in compassionate service in the war. Jim's been the high priest leader and the elders quorum president now.
Can you believe that an old guy like me, they called us the Elders Quorum president? President, I'm too old for this. I'd already been the high priest group leader for over 3 years. No, I want you to be the Elders Quorum president. And I keep thinking he's going to release me, but he doesn't. We are really excited because we have 2 temples being built by us within about 5 miles in 2 different directions. One in Syracuse.
So we hope to work there. We set a goal to go once a week, and we've done that for quite a few years now. And we index and we work on and submit a lot of names. And so while we're kind of homebound compared to being able to go on another mission, we've had some nice trips and been able to have nice reunions with our kids. But we look fondly at our mission with all of you. What a wonderful time. You blessed us all.
You Browns look great.
Oh,
I think about you quite a bit. I think about the DR. I worry about the DR and COVID-19. I worry about it spreading really fast. I just worry about the people there.
Well, we're on a WhatsApp with President Rodriguez and a bunch of the missionaries down there, and they seem to be doing well. So
that is great.
Right.
Well, thank you. How about buttons?
Leon and
Well, I'll take us from DR to hello, hermano Iturralde.
Hi.
Hello. You know, I knew the Iturraldes when I was a young missionary in my 20s. He was the branch president, and I actually had the pleasure of knowing them back then. But anyway, so we served in the Dominican Republic as I was the area executive secretary, and my wife was the area church history advisor. We served from 2012 to 2013. So we returned home, and I went back to work to be able to later retire. We worked in the Mesa, Arizona Temple. We were able to work the Spanish shifts, which we really enjoyed. so we submitted our papers, and I'll let my wife take it from 2018.
Okay, so we were called to the Chile Santiago West Mission, and we served there for 15 months, and then we received a reassignment to come to Texas Houston South Mission. So that's where we are right now, and we finish in 2 weeks. But anyway, we love serving, and we've been blessed more than we can ever describe, as you all have been. We can tell from the things that you're sharing. I just want to say it is such a blessing to be able to see everyone today. I feel a little bit emotional as I see each one of you. So many memories are flooding through my mind, and all the many ways that you blessed our lives there in the Dominican Republic. We will be eternally indebted to each of you for blessing us and helping us. We learned so much from so many of you, had so much fun with so many of you, and you are definitely our eternal friends.
Thank you.
We have a couple questions. We've kind of lost track of the Glaziers. Does anyone know how they're doing?
They're doing well.
They were invited.
They go to St. George with us every year, and we're in touch with them. And they've been doing, at least the last we talked to them, they're doing well.
Good. That's good to hear. Elder and Sister Snow, you had a grandson that served in Chile. Which mission?
Chile North, or Santiago North.
Santiago
North. Okay.
Yeah, we were in Santiago West. So,
Where's the mission home there?
it's in La Barnechea, which is the mission home is actually about 45 minutes from the mission boundaries. Our mission presidents, both President Woodward and President Sister Mitchell, they have young children, so they were in the the nicer American schools there. So they had a long commute to get to the mission office. Our mission office was in Maipú.
Maipú, okay.
Is that where you served your mission? Was in Chile?
Yeah, I served as a young man. I served there, and so did Elder Snow.
Yes.
So did I.
Oh, that's great.
One mission is all it was, the whole country.
Yeah.
Yep. What years were you there, and what years were you there?
1967 to 1969.
I was there 65. I got there almost January 1st of 65, and I left on December 30th of 66.
And so you had President Burton, Robert Burton.
I did.
You guys are all a bunch of punk kids.
That's right. Well, speaking of kids, it looks like Sister Quino has come back. Let's hear from the Quinos what you're doing, what you tell people what you did in the DR mission and what you're doing now.
Well, our mission was very special because I was called part-time at the area office in finance, in the finance department, and part-time in the temple as sealer. And my wife was full-time at the temple. So we were almost never together. So since, we served from February 2012 to August 2013. And since this date, as you know, part of our heart remains in the RD. So every year we return there and spend at least 2 months in the temple. And we are so pleased to be there. As you know, we have adopted a family over there, the Perez. Brother Perez is now in the stake presidency of the Villa Maya stake. And we have our grandson, Junior, is 18 years old now. So we enjoy very much to be there every year. So, and here in France, we were called in the Paris Temple. We are how would you say that? Workers. Obrero y también sellador. Espero que vuestro español se quedó el mismo. Podéis entenderme. Porque mi inglés se va poco a poco y es el español que toma la plaza.
Ya se ve.
Y bueno, en nuestro, in our ward, we serve also as I am in the Sunday school, and very soon it seems that we will be called to serve as teacher in the, for the young kids, the first class for the young kids.
What used to be
They say as grandmother and grandfather.
Oh, that is
I
great.
love you.
Sister Quino, would you like to add anything?
I am so happy to know the love of the Lord, because each day here, being at home each day and each week and each month, I can see of my Savior in each thing I do. I have a very little garden, and the flowers I can have, it's wonderful. It's like Eden, just a Garden of Eden. And it's wonderful. The tulip and all the flowers were there, and it was wonderful. And I can see the love of the Lord.
She called her garden the Garden of Eden, but I call the jungle.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
And I was some minutes before founding family in internet, and it's a part of our life now. I cannot be with the family really physically. We are with our daughters by Skype and all things, and with our ancestors each day, because we found quite each day family, and we can prepare for the temple when it will be open. And it's wonderful to can escape of this situation, to escape with for eternity. And, it's the love of the Savior can do that, and I am so grateful for him for this, and I give my testimony of this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I think we all feel that way. We can identify with what you're saying, Sister Quino.
Do all of you remember Brother Cruz that was in the temple presidency down there? Hermano Cruz?
Oui.
He now serves in the Jordan River Temple.
Really?
Ah.
Thought you'd be interested to know that.
And Sister Quino, the Quinos were our next door neighbors during the first 3 months that we lived on our mission, and taught me how to make a Spanish omelet. I don't know if any of the rest of you remember her wonderful potato, but we still make that. And I appreciate it and think about you. So,
right.
Thank you.
How about the Haas?
I can tell you just a little bit about Brother Cruz. I keep close tabs with him. He and his wife lived at 90th South and about 9th or 10th West. He turned 84 this last week, and they're doing really well, both of them. They live with their daughter there in Utah, and
he works in the temple.
Works in the Jordan River Temple, and just really good people.
Yes, amazing people.
And they remember everybody. He has a memory like an elephant, and he can remember and tell stories about everyone.
That's good. That's great. Well, how about the Haases?
Okay.
Haas.
All right. Wall says I'm supposed to be the voice. So we were in the DR from April of 2012 to February of 2014. served as welfare directors of the country. Since we got home, we were called a week after we arrived home to be the indexing directors in our stake, and about a week to 2 weeks after that, we were called as area advisors, which the name has now changed to area managers. And so we served in that position, and we're over 22 stakes to help them with their family history. Then in 2017, we were called as the directors of the Mesa Family History Library. Now, since we knew the Mesa Temple was closed, or it was closing soon after we were called, and we were told the library was to prepare to close. So we were basically called as directors of the library at the time that they were closing down the library. It was very difficult because so many patrons came in for our books, and that was the first thing we had to get rid of, was all of the books and send them to Salt Lake to be scanned. And it was difficult for our patrons to let those books go. But somehow we managed to get through that. It was also very difficult on many of the missionaries that had served for years, and that was their life. They had to find other things to do. So currently the library is still closed and the temple is still closed. And so we now serve in our stake as stake temple and family history consultants. And our stake changes constantly because we moved to a new area. All the homes are not much more than about 5 years old anymore. And so it's a growing and a changing area. So we change boards about every year. But so far we've stayed in the same stake. We still do family history work, and looks like we're stuck there for the rest of our lives. So I really love doing family history work, and that's what I do pretty much every day, looking up some of the relatives that lived a long time ago. In the 1700s is where I'm at right now. But besides that, my husband does a lot of gardening and has a big, beautiful garden. And we took care of his mother for 4 years. And that's one reason we didn't go out of the country. We had her with us for 4 years, and she passed away just last September at age 97. So anyway, that's about our life and what we've been doing.
Well, and we prepared a mission application and got our medical all done, about ready to hit submit. And then the coronavirus hit. Oh. So we put that all on hold. See what comes of that. But we're getting to where we kind of like this isolation.
That is great. Well, did you ever finish the book you were working on called The Power of Low Expectations?
I actually got the first half page written.
I'm going to take one to anybody who wants.
That's great. Thank you.
But nobody will read it.
I wouldn't expect
we could go halfway.
Maybe not, but we could add to it.
Well, how about Jill Johnson?
Let me get unmuted here. Hi. I just got to start off, Dunfords, you guys are amazing. You were amazing on the mission to collect people and build relationships. You're so gifted in that, because it is.
I love all of you.
But we all love each other, but you're the ones who make the effort and get the organization going. You guys are gifted.
Well, however, we did give credit to the Snows that they were the ones that came up with this idea. So.
Oh, well, thank you, Snows, too. And then, like Sister Button was saying, you know, as I sit here and listen to the people that I interacted with, gosh, it warms my heart. You touched me, and I learned from everybody. I was there with my husband from end of 2012 to the first part of 2014. We are divorced. I'm still here in the house in Park City, and he's moved to San Antonio, Texas. I was the publishing services manager down there and did a lot of video productions. I was on the area music committee, did a lot of things with music in the area and productions, and had a blast. I thought it was fabulous. Since we've been home, I served a mission, a live at home mission down at the church headquarters. I was a director of content and marketing for the church service missionary department, which is, you know, just over their social media and written material website, things like that for a while. And something kind of unique is I added a daughter to my family during this time, a young woman who was in the Warren Jeffs FLDS group and got kicked out. She was 19, and she came through a variety of circumstances. I met her and felt very prompted that she was to be my daughter. And so the end of 2015, she joined me and is my daughter, and gotten her worked, tutored her, helped her get through her GED and off to college. And in the meantime, she had an accident down at Lake Powell, a brain injury. So we had about a year of 24/7 care, but she's back going strong now and has pretty much recovered from that. So everybody's talking about their new grandkids. Well, I've got a new daughter, so how about that? But anyway, so enjoying life. Most recently, I've done a couple of actually video productions for church headquarters since I've been back. One on the freedom of religion, and I just got back from the Philippines to film one on human rights education. It's under the Office of General Counsel, where they have a pilot program to teach it in the school. And so they want to expand it to other areas, and they wanted me to make a little documentary to go show the other area presidents and other ministers of education, you know, what's going on and how this could benefit them. So that's on my computer right now, working in post-production. So There you go.
Wonderful.
And I don't know if any of you got to see the video that Jill did about the temple, the Santo Domingo temple, but it was wonderful. If you haven't seen it, we should make the YouTube of it. Is it available on YouTube?
Yeah, well, I think it's on the area website, the Caribbean area. And then I went and filmed pioneers on some of the islands, you know, some of the church pioneers, and they only had me finish and put together a video on Jamaica. So there's and I think that's on the Caribbean area website, the Jamaica pioneer story of Victor Nugent, who was instrumental in starting the church there. So I mean, I think I had the coolest mission, frankly. You know.
You did a marvelous work there. How about the flakes?
Yeah, we'd be glad to talk to you. Boy, this is great to see everybody. Oh, I can't believe it. We served in the Dominican Republic from November 2013 to 2015 in Temple. And we remember a lot of you. Thank you for your service and working with us. We got home and we're at home until August of 2019, and then we came to went on a mission. We're still on that mission in Madrid. We're in the Madrid, Spain mission, and we're some of the fortunate ones that weren't sent home. All of our missions in the Europe area, all of them were able to stay here. So there's 21 missions that the missionaries have stayed on the mission.
Hmm.
And what they do is mainly work on Facebook, and we communicate with the missionaries through Zoom. So this is great to see faces like yours. We get to talk to the missionaries that way. And our mission president does Zoom meetings and Facebook Live. So that's the way that we communicate. So I'll let you say the rest.
It's so good to see all of you. I see the Levitts up in our right-hand corner. They taught us all that we knew. No one could have arrived in the Dominican Republic as green as we did, expecting to go in and work at the temple. But we remember all of you fondly and appreciate it and have such a great love for the Dominican Republic. I wanted to tell one quick little story from the temple I'm just thinking about. Some of you said that you had worked in the Santo Domingo West Mission.
Yes.
Not too long before we came back in 2016, I knew a little busload was coming in from Neiva out by Barahona. And so I was keeping an eye out up at the recommend desk so we could make sure that they would feel welcome. And in the group that came, there was a couple and their children, and they just were so excited. They were coming for the first time. And he said, "Would you like to know how we got here?" And I said, "Well, I imagine you probably came on the bus with the rest of them." "No," he said, "that's how we came, but how we paid to get here." And I said, "Sure, I'd love to know that." He said, "Well, last Sunday we had our recommends and we thought we had the money to make the trip. And we were really excited. But Wednesday night I came home and told my wife we couldn't do it. We just had some obligations we had to meet, and we just simply couldn't go on Saturday. And I was going to go tell the branch president." And she says, "Well, no, don't go. It's late. Just go tell him in the morning." And so he said, "Well, I decided that was okay." We went to bed, and about 15 minutes afterwards, about 10:30 at night, there was a knock on the door, and the neighbors up in the next block came and they said, "Our grandmother died, and we need to bury her tomorrow, and we're looking for someone to dig the grave." He said, "I didn't even ask how much it would be. I just went out and dug that grave. And we're here because of digging that grave Thursday morning. It's too bad the poor dear lady had to die so we could come to the temple." Here we are. And so that was a great experience to have that family come through the temple and be sealed as a family. They were so thrilled and so excited. But I felt like I ought to tell him. I said, "I think you ought to go do two things. One, go back and tell the man that paid you the money how you spent it. Maybe you can have an influence on him. And the other thing is, please get permission to do the work for the dear old lady at the end of the year." Those experiences we will never forget. And you are part of all those, and we're grateful for those of you that worked with us there.
Thank you.
Love you all so much.
And as you all know, there are no people like the Dominicans. I tell you, we love them with our heart. I don't know. They are the most loving people.
They're wonderful.
I just can't express it.
We were so thrilled to have the Rapleys follow us, and now to have the Lees there and the good work that they're doing is exciting experiences that go on there at the temple of Santo Domingo.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
And by the way, we haven't acknowledged that Kevin Mortensen is on now. Hi, Kevin.
Welcome.
And we'll let you talk.
Hi.
Yeah.
But it's good to have you.
Good to see all you friendly faces. This is amazing.
Well, good to have you. Now that Carlos is here, how about the Iturraldes?
Well, first I have a question for Kevin. Are the Mortensen family from Chihuahua? Are you related to that family?
No, we're not related to them that we know of.
Okay. Rodolfo Mortensen was my bishop, and when I had my DNA done, I found out that we were cousins.
Oh, wow.
He had passed away.
We're not related to the Mexican Mortensens and the Mormon colonies down there at all.
Okay. Well, I'm still still busy. And I have my nonprofit organization, and when we came back from the Dominican Republic, I had a project to image some parish records in Mexico for Family Search. And when I took the cameras and went down, we had a camera, and we went down there and do the project. And the priest had changed, and all the letters, the 3 letters that they wrote, they said, well, I have to talk to the bishop. And I got an appointment with the bishop, and he says, para ahorita, no. So I was down there with a camera and nothing to do, and the director of the archive of Hidalgo de Parral, Chihuahua, said, why don't you image our collection? And it was the largest collection in northern Mexico. And we imaged that record, put it online, and so we have a website called PANES, PANES, .info, PANES Info. And we started imaging and putting online other archives in Mexico. And we have 3 projects online right now. One in the, if we get through the political problems that they have right now, is the National Archive in Mexico City. Them. And the National Library, they have what they call the Franciscan Archive, and they also want help. And I just got a call about a month ago, or an email, that the Franciscan Archive in Celaya wants their records imaged, and that would be great because that convent was the first Franciscan archive, first Franciscan convent that was established outside of Mexico City in 1551. So they have a tremendous amount of records there. So I'm still involved in genealogy, like a lot of you, and with my wife. She's my right hand.
Do you want to tell everybody what you did on your mission? You kind of referred to it, but you didn't announce that.
Oh, I don't know about that story. Nancy and I work digitizing them.
We run records preservation at the government archive. So that was our main assignment. But then we also worked, like all of you, I think, worked at the temple once a week. And I remember Sister Quino, I was on her shift when she was in charge of, I think you were. And I remember her telling us, so if you're having trouble with the French names, just don't worry about it. When you get to every vowel, just go, and you'll be mostly right. Then we got to visit with the Levitts when they came here to California for he was having some treatments, and so we got to go and visit. Had a wonderful visit with the Levitts. That was so fun.
That was.
Yeah, that was so fun. That was nice. And we've been back to Utah a few times to visit the Reeses a few times, and then some of the reunions we really enjoyed. What else was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So we've been, our callings here, our official callings are, we've been on the Public Affairs Council ever since we've been back, and family history consultants. So that's been our major callings. And so like who was saying that they're going to be doing that forever. Who was saying that for the eternities. So I think that's our calling until we die anyway.
Oh, thank you for that report. Are the Ruckers able to talk?
Yes.
Wonderful. You folks would be next.
We can't see you, but we can. We're hearing you, and we're grateful for that. What a treat this has been to hear all of you and to visualize. I'm thinking of you as 5 years younger, so that's good because we can't see you.
That's good.
We've been busy. We've been busy like the rest of you. I've served for several years as Stake Relief Society president and continue in that calling. It keeps you busy. Chuck has been serving on the High Council for several years and maintains rental properties that we have about 45 minutes away. And then he was recently called or been asked to be a sealer in the Gilbert, Arizona temple, and he greatly enjoyed that opportunity until it closed about a month after he was able to start that service. We're just busy with family and doing those callings like the rest of you. We have a son that's preparing to serve as the mission president for Hungary, Romania as of July 1. And that has been an interesting process to follow him and to now take it daily and see what's going to happen with that. And they haven't even been able to start their visas yet. And just with all that's going on in the world, but they're preparing and moving forward. So we're anxious for them to have that opportunity. We served as auditors in the DR following Lynn and Janet Snow. They trained us well, and Chuck was very involved in that and really enjoyed that work that was so different from anything we had done before and from a previous mission with humanitarian work. And I enjoyed following him around and visiting with priesthood brethren in those meetings. This has just been a treat to get to hear all of you and to reminisce and think of you and to feel of your strength and your testimony. And we appreciate this opportunity. Chuck, do you want to say something? Chuck says to tell you that he's fine. And I'm sure he's waiting for Wallace's book, because we talk about that all the time and we can't wait for that first page. Love you all. Thank you. Bye.
We really didn't hear from Kevin.
Yeah,
we're gonna hear Kevin.
Okay.
You want to hear from us?
Yes, please.
Yes.
There's Elaine right there. So it's been wonderful to hear all of you and see all of you, and I can see most of you. 3 of you, I guess, are on the phones. We're just blessed and to have the connection, and I look at each one of you and a story comes to mind, so I could tell a story about every one of you. Some of you we haven't met very much, but you're so famous, and we're so glad to see your faces. I mean, the Buttons and the Levitts and the Ruckers, we've heard all about you, but we've never met you before, so this is awesome.
We've never met him. Yeah.
But when we first got to the very first day we arrived in the Dominican Republic, which was in 2013, we were in November of 2013. We served in the East Mission office. We were an office couple. But the Dunfords had us over for lunch at their apartment. And that meant so much to us. So Jill, what you said about them is really true. We're so grateful you're keeping us connected, and this is great. We good to see Lynn Snow. Lynn and I think it's a miracle that we even met.
Absolutely. I was going to tell that story. You tell it.
Well, I was just randomly walked into this office in Roosevelt, Utah. I'd never been there before, didn't even know I was going there, and I run into Lynn, and he says, "Oh, I'm leaving here in a couple weeks to the Dominican Republic." And that was really cool. We, Jill, it's good to see you, Jill, by the way. We did a lot together when we were down there the first few months. So the video of the history of the Church of the Dominican Republic is on YouTube, and it's on the church, on the area website, but I'll email all of you a link to it. I'm just going to respond to the email that the Dunfords sent out. I'll send a link. The work you did, Jill, have you seen it, Jill?
Yes, I saw it.
Yeah, okay. It's incredible. It is so good. The work you did, Jill, to get all the video, and then I can't remember the name of the young man at the area office who put it together.
I can't remember either. I was just trying to think of his name, of who put it together at the end. He did a good job.
You did a fabulous job. I'd recommend all of you watch it, even if you've seen it before. I watch it a lot. It's so moving about the first days of the church in the Dominican Republic. It's just exceptional.
Kevin, you didn't mention that you served a mission there when you were a young man.
Yeah, my wife and I served, and then before I served or now I can actually see better, in 1978. So we were part of the first group of missionaries to go to the Dominican Republic, and we've been well connected with the country. We've had our family down there a lot. In fact, last year we were down there 3 times.
Wow.
We went for a reunion. It was the 40th reunion of the missionaries, the dedication of the country, and some of you know Rafael Gutierrez. He put together an amazing public affairs event. I mean, dinner at the hotels with dignitaries and radio and TV and firesides. It was really exceptional, and so we went down for that, and we went down for vacation, and we went down for something else. I don't remember, but we loved going down there. And there's the Christmas. I remember going to the beach with all of you. You were our beach buddies. That was great. And it's good to see the Flakes. They are just our Centerville. They live right here by us. Our houses are really close together. But we went down for another reunion. That's what the third time. President Corbett, who was the mission president in the East Mission, who's now he's newly called in the presiding bishopric. He's a second counselor in the presiding bishopric. He was the mission president, one of them we served under. He did a missionary reunion for his missionaries in Santo Domingo. So we went down for that at last Christmas time, just before Christmas. He's done, since his missionaries were from all different parts of the world, he did one in Guatemala, he did one in Peru, he did one in the Dominican Republic, he did one in the United States. So he's going to his missionaries for these missionary reunions. It's been quite interesting.
Your history, Ken, was just a marvelous, really positive influence of bringing that story, that book together. That was marvelous.
You know, I would have to tell you that just 10 days before we entered the MTC, I was still in my real estate office, and Kevin walked in, and we had a visit. We'd never met before, he didn't even know I was LDS. And I told him he had a property, and I said, I'm not going to be able to help you. He said, are you going on a mission? And I said, yes. And he said, where are you going? And I said, to the Dominican Republic. And I thought something was wrong because it looked like I'd hit him, you know. And then in a minute, he told me, he said, I was one of the first 10 missionaries, and he said, I'm sending you my book. And that book came, and I read that, and it changed my mission, our mission, really. It was wonderful. We still haven't, we left that one there. We've bought a couple copies since, and we just love that book.
It had the same effect on us as well. Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a new webpage for that book. I'll send you a link to that. And if you know people that you can share it with and stuff, we don't make any money on it. We just want people to know the stories. We think they're so special. But in that webpage, there's some videos, and there's also that same video that Jill helped put together that we worked together on, and there's some other information about the dedication site. We've kind of made it a collection of just information about the first years of the church in the Dominican Republic. So I'll send you a link to that.
That was
Thank you. Yes, Kevin, we all love that book. We never had that Dominican reunion that we were going to, did we?
I know. We ended up having a whole bunch of the Dominicans in our backyard. The Cruces, who you were talking about earlier, they came over in our backyard, and we had a kind of a little barbecue. And
oh, great.
And got the Cruces, the Amparos, the Bowdens, and a few other, those early families from the Dominican Republic came over. Brother Bowden, Paco Bowden, so the father, the patriarch, he passed away last year. And so we kind of got together because of that. And he lived in Mesa, Arizona at the time.
Right.
I was going to mention, I think, Jill, you mentioned Ted Nugent. I met him just last month for the first time.
Victor,
excuse me. I think Ted is, yeah, right. Oh, yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, I don't know where that came from. Victor Nugent. And he was the first member of the church in Jamaica, but my mission president when I was a young man was Richard Millett. He lives in Provo.
Yeah.
His wife passed away last month, And so we went to the funeral, and he was at the funeral. And so I said, I recognize you from that video that Jill did. And I talked to him, and it was good to see him. And he was, I think he's headed down to Jamaica to work in the, no, that's not right. Never mind. He lives in Orem.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to
Well,
keep
and you also worked on with the production in Jamaica or in Haiti.
Yeah.
Of rounding up those pioneers and making that happen too. So.
Has that one been produced?
No, and they, I offered to do it, but they were going to do it in country, and I've never heard of it being put together.
Yeah, those are amazing stories. I was so impressed with the Haitians and how dedicated they are to stay there and keep the prophet's counsel to stay in your own country, no matter how hard it is. And they are really, really dedicated. I just really love the Haitians when I got to meet them that one trip.
Great. Well, before we go on, Brother Quino, you had raised your hand. Do you still would like to say something before we go on?
Yes, I don't know if you have heard that, if it's still a secret or not, but during our last visit in December and January, President Lee, the temple president, announced a project for a temple in Santiago. So we were expecting in April conference to see the prophet announcing the temple in Santiago, but it was not said. So we hope that in the next conference in October, maybe that will be official.
That'd be marvelous. That's great. Thank you for saying that, Cheryl.
Now, let me just make sure I understood what you said. That's Santiago, Dominican Republic?
Yes, sir.
That's great. We have two telephone conversations which open from, which may be from the records, but there's a third one. Is there a person on the telephone that we have not heard from before Jill and I share us? I guess not. Okay.
Can I say something? Can you hear me?
Who's me?
Jim Schmidt.
Yes.
Oh, good.
I just want to thank Sherry and Roger Brown. When we got into the airport in Santo Domingo, it was very late at night. Elder Reeder and Elder Batista were there, picked us up and took us into temple housing. We didn't have an apartment. I was absolutely famished, and I will never forget Sherry Brown bringing down the hall. She says, I don't know hardly have anything in our room, but I'll bring you some banana and some, I think it was bread and cheese. But I have never forgotten that. I was so hungry, and she was so kind to bring that. So, Sister Brown, thank you for doing that.
Amen.
Yeah. I think, received kindnesses from everybody here. It has been marvelous. I'm going to ask Jill to start off for us.
Hi, this is wonderful. There are lots of times I wish I were back there. And it was a great mission. It was hard. Those of us that knew Rafael Gutierrez, we were called as public affairs specialists. We had no experience in that area. And like a lot of you got called to missions you didn't know anything about. And I didn't speak Spanish. And it was really, really challenging. And I was so grateful for the friendship of a lot of you that helped me grit it through that first 6 months. I was going to stay there for 6 months and then asked to be called to a different location. But fortunately, that didn't happen. And I was grateful for Elder Cornish that I know a lot of you worked with and so forth. And I think you all know that his wife passed away. But he was a great support and help to us. We came home, we sold our house, and we now live in a townhome because we didn't have to take care of the yard and everything. We went on another mission to Salt Lake City headquarters, and we were there for 20 months. We began working in interpretation. We didn't do interpretation, but the church does events like General Conference in over 90 languages. So we were in charge of a third of those languages and made sure that they had interpreters there for different events. And the church does about over 300 events every year in other languages that we don't even know about. like an institute video, they would do the crossover on it in other languages. Anyway, and then our mission changed a little. Bob started doing surveys in value of the translations. What did the listeners think? Translation quality, he can explain it. And I was a trainer for the family history for all the missionaries coming into that mission that would go to work somewhere in the Salt Lake City headquarters mission that was originally the family history mission. But they changed that because people were called to all different kinds of things. There were people that served in water. There were people that served in just different law. I mean, legal. You weren't called to that mission and necessarily be a family history mission. And then we've come home since, and we were called to teach the 14, 15-year-old Sunday school class, which was interesting. And then I've been a state family history training state family history consultants and bothering the houses all the time with ideas. And then we both were called to work in the temple. And then I got a neurological disorder last October. It was diagnosed in December, called chorea, spelled chorea. And it means that I was making too much dopamine. People with Parkinson's disease don't make enough. I make too much. And finally, with lots of testing, it caused me to have lots of shaking. If you've ever heard of the disease called St. Vitus dance, that's what this was. And they don't know why I don't fit the criteria, but I've been on some medicine called Ingressa, and I'm really doing fine and hope to stay healthy. And now I'm back to being a ward family history consultant. So
you can tell that disease was kind of weird when the neurologist said, I cannot figure out what is giving you these shakes. But I tell you what, he says, I'm going to give you some medicine, and if it works, then we'll know what you've got. And it did. It worked fine. She's feeling better now. I just want to thank each of you for the experience.
And Rob is the ward self-reliant specialist, and he does Zoom meetings with different groups in the ward right now.
Yeah. I really enjoyed our temple service in the Atlanta Temple, and I was called as when we got home from our mission, we started serving in the temple, and the temple president asked us how long we were going to be there, and he says, I understand you want to serve another mission. And I says, yeah, we do. He says, well, he said, we didn't say anything at that time, and then a couple of weeks later, he says, Brother Dunford, you still thinking of serving another mission? We said, yes. He says, well, it ain't going to happen. Called as the assistant temple recorder. 2-year calling, 2-year assignment. So it was my privilege to work in that area. And I was responsible for the temple grounds, the outside of the temple. And it was a marvelous experience, a lot of fun, as well as the inside kinds of things. But we've had an enriching experience and an unforgettable experience. But anyway, he called back. It came about nearly 18 months later, and
New temple president.
And we submitted papers for another mission, and we were called to Salt Lake, and that was a great experience. I don't know if how many of you have seen. Did anybody click on the link for the memories of 4 former Dominican missionaries that we?
Yes, I did, and it was wonderful. Really good.
If you haven't seen it, go ahead. Can you see this on your screen?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm going to scroll down a little bit. It's got the pauses and other people and just a smattering of experiences there. And I invite you to go to this site, and if you want, download any pictures that you would care for to share with your grandchildren for stories and so forth, and upload pictures that are not here that you would like to share. For example, this is a humanitarian effort where the dentist would come down and serve with us, and we have some videos online, just marvelous experiences, and just a smattering of kinds of things there that you could contribute to if you would like. And I'm not going to go through all of them, but we can continue to talk if you would like. But as for my part, I want to show you a little closing. We have so many experiences. You remember Christmas down at the park? You remember that? Those experiences, those lights.
Not everybody got that. Was that?
But this is a little 40-second shot of the just as a memory down there of what it was like as we were looking out our window over time of that marvelous experience. It goes from afternoon into evening, and we're kind of all in the twilight of our lives. It's our prayer that you'll have this continuing experience, this wonderful in the future years and months that we're together as we've had in the past. And we want to let you know how much we love you, how grateful we are for serving with you, the memories that you gave us. And we'll just, anybody who wants to sign off, I don't know how long we've been on now, she should be able to show the time somewhere. You're welcome to chat longer if you like, and we'll leave it on as long as you would like.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you for those pictures.
I have one thing I'd like to do for any of you before you leave. You want to get us back to the video view?
Okay, thank you.
I have a favor to ask. Some of you could help me. You know, when you're a cowboy, while you have extra time, and so one of the things I do is I build these paper towel holders out in my shop with my welder, and I've got 25 or so of them. I don't have out. See, it's got an S on it. You can know who made it. But so if any of you who are where I can get to you would send me your address. We get to Salt Lake and down through Utah County and on to southern Utah or wherever you want, and I'll try and get you one so I can get rid of the 25 I've got and get some new ones.
And they're great. Everyone should have one.
And then there's one other thing, you know, cowboy poet, you know, I mean, you just kind of get rid of that. And this time we're in, you know, is just kind of difficult to get everything, keep everything organized. And I'm not sure how many of you have heard this little verse, but I will share a little verse with you. It requires a cowboy hat. I spied an aged freighter as I checked the fence that day, dressed in bibby overalls and driving a 1-ton Model A. Half-worn brakes till the truck he finally stopped. Got out and slapped the side rail with a stick, then he hopped. Kicking up a cloud of dust, he headed out once more, only to stop on up the road and reenact this puzzling chore. Now this went on for miles with my curious about to bust. Each time we'd almost catch him, me and Bell was eating dust. Now the road ahead took a bend, so I kicked Bell in the ribs, determined to catch the Model A and the freighter in his bibs.
Morning.
I crossed the ridge, so this time when he slowed, me and Bell was there awaiting in the middle of the road.
I was hoping you were
Jumped out in those bibbies with his usual stick in hand. I took my chance to ask him, "What the heck you doing, man?" He said, "I'm hauling 2 ton of canaries, and believe me, it's been trying. This here's just a 1-ton truck, so I got to keep half of them flying." That's kind of how the world is.
Oh, love that. Love that. That's great.
By the way, would you like to do this again, like in 6 months? Would this be a fun?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Is 6 months soon enough? I mean,
Maybe quarterly.
well, we'll just.
Depends what happens to our crazy world.
That's true. Well, and we're praying for the Savior, so we may all be just twinkled and we can just flit over. And
I have to share with you, a lady that I minister to has a grandson that's an artist, and he sent her a cartoon of this young man asking his mom, "What do you wear to a millennium?" I thought it was pretty apt.
Well, we know there'll be golf there because it says it's one eternal round.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. I'm signing off. Thank you, Dunford and Snows, for making this happen.
You bet.
Thank you. Good to see you all.
Thank you, thank you.
Good to see everybody, and we need to go as well.
And we'll have a recording of it. If you know of somebody that's not on that we would have liked to have had, because we have a list, the Bears and a bunch of others, let us know. We'll make sure they get a copy of it. We'll see you all in 6 months.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Love all of you.